Alright, so we're back out here today. Got a pretty good sized list of things we want to try to get done on the bus today. I'm going to start though by barring this engine over, making sure that none of these injectors are going to be stuck once we get it barred over. I put water in it yesterday and it's still full, so we don't have a coolant leak I'm worried about. We are going to flush the cooling system out though and put coolants in before we get going. They have already gone through and fixed those coolant pipes down on the bottom. They've made their own hoses and pipes for it. We're not going to have to worry about messing with those. So, next up, get everything ready to get this engine barred over and make sure that these injectors aren't going to be stuck on us. So barred the engine over, and the rack is stuck now. You can see, got an injector there that's stuck down. So we're going to get that one out of there and get it freed up. Alright, I had to run into town, grab a heel bar. I left mine at home. But we got the injector out of here. So now we're going to work on getting this thing loosened up, because it's stuck down and I cannot move the rack on it. And there we go. After a minute of messing with it, it moves freely. So this actually has N70s in it. It's also a 4-valve head. I don't know if Sage paid attention to the 4-valve yesterday, but N70s are a nice surprise. So now that we got this one moving free again, I'm gonna go ahead and get the top end of the motor put back together. We're going to bar it over a few more times just to make sure that no other injector wants to hang up on us like this one did. And then we should be in a pretty good spot, I think, to be getting close to starting this thing. We're going to hook up the batteries, obviously. I'm going to want to change fluids in it. But mechanically, I mean, if these injectors aren't stuck, I don't see anything that's going to stop us from getting this thing going today, at least running. Alright, so we've got the injector back in, hold downs on, torqued the rockers, put the fuel lines on, torqued them, the rack is hooked back up, and they are moving freely now, again. But before I even try to do anything else, I'm going to bar the engine over another rotation or two just to make sure that we don't stick another one. Alright, so I started on pulling filters. That oil filter and that top fuel filter there we had to order from Luke. He'll be here tomorrow. We were able to get the lower one locally. Got fluids picked up for it. We had an oil line that went from the setting unit down to that block there that was bad. This is the correct fitting. Unfortunately, Supply House gave us the wrong fitting for this top side. So it goes on about a quarter turn and then stops. So we're going to have to get a new one of those. I'm pretty glad I didn't press that hose together at the shop, but we'll get another one. Valve cover gasket will be here tomorrow. So right now I'm going to get the transmission draining, and then I'm probably going to hop on getting the brake valve replaced up in the front of the bus. I don't know if you guys can see in there very well, but someone has already started pulling this brake valve out of here. I don't have a whole lot of room to work, let alone record, so unfortunately I think this is going to be one of those things where I'll show it to you when I get it out of there, but there's barely room to get an arm or two in there. So what I ended up doing here, this was pretty tight and I couldn't get a good reach on it. I ended up taking the headlight bucket out. I'm just going through the hole where the headlight goes. It's making it quite a bit easier to get this one off. The back one's not going to be fun no matter what. But
back ridge on the back valve?
Yeah, but at least get it off this way. After this, there's only one more fitting and this whole brake valve is ready to lift out of the floor. Then we'll swap it out. Alright, we're finally getting back to getting this transmission drain plug out. It was stuck earlier, and this is the longest wrench I had with me. Sage had the truck, so I had to wait for him to get back to be able to get under here and get this thing loosened up. We got the brake valve out. I don't have it here right now. He had to run it back into town with it and go grab a fitting that we didn't have for it. So, figured I'd get this done while he's gone. There we go. Fluid was supposedly changed not long ago, but yeah, there's quite a bit of metal. This is that's all metal magnet. But there's no dipstick on this thing sitting out here for the last 6 years, so I wanted to change it anyway. Get this magnet cleaned up and I'll take a look at some of the condition of this oil once it gets out of here. So I got the magnet out and cleaned up. That's what it's supposed to look like. It's not uncommon to see these things get completely packed full of little pieces of fine metal like that. There's no big chunks, it's all just really fine shavings. The Spicer 4-speed manual that's in these GM buses, it's unsynchronized. So a lot of people do grind the hell out of the gears on these things, and this is what it ends up looking like once you pull the plug out of the trans. But I'll check the pan when it comes out, make sure we don't have any big chunks down in there. I doubt we will, but we'll just double check to be sure. But I mean, that's pretty common when I pull one of these. Now we got the hose here. So I matched it off the old one. I probably should have had it made shorter because this thing is pretty long, but at least it's not going to leak on us. I can get it zip tied up out of the way. But just get it tightened up and one more project knocked off the list. I don't want to put fluid in the trans tonight because I still don't have the dipstick. That's going to get here later tonight when Patrick gets here. He's bringing one for us. But transmission's drained. I got to dump off the drain pan, and I'll probably drain the engine oil tonight too. Oil filter will be here tomorrow. The second fuel filter will be here. Once that stuff goes in, we're ready to try to start this motor. So as soon as Sage gets back here, hopefully I'll get the brake valve in tonight. Then tomorrow we're going to try to get tires mounted on it. I think that's what Patrick and Sage are going to get done. I'll probably set valves and injectors tomorrow. I'm going to want to inspect the brakes and inspect wheel bearings too. But we'll see. We also got the emergency shutdown flap freed up today. The engine shutdown is free if the solenoid will pull. I haven't tested power yet. We haven't put batteries in it. The throttle linkage is freed up. I'm going to have to cut these zip ties. Somebody zip tied a wire to the throttle linkage rod, but that's not a big deal. So we got the valve all assembled, ready to drop it in there. And there's 6 bolts, 3 studs, 3 not. They're wrong. I got to reclock them. So the pedal won't sit on the right. So I'm going to take these out one and then swap this one over, put this one here, and do that all the way around so I don't mess it up. So I got all the bolts flipped around here, so this is in the right direction now, so I can mount the pedal to it. So I'm going to fish through the headlight hole, get it sat in there, get the lines hooked up to it, and then I'll probably hop on the top side and bolt the pedal down. So that's going to do it today. I got that treadle valve in there. I got one of the air lines hooked to it. Fought with the next one for like 20 minutes, but we're losing daylight out here, so it's time to pick up tools. I'll hop back on in the morning. But it's easy to get to it. Right there through the headlight bezel. But hopefully tomorrow, we're waiting on a shipment from Luke for filters and everything. Once those get here, this thing should be ready to start up. We're going to call a tire shop tomorrow, see about having them come out and throw 6 new tires on. We've got the tires sitting in town already. We just got to have someone come do them. But if all goes as planned, I might be test driving this thing tomorrow night.